Troy Aikman's with us now, obviously from Fox Sports, and Dallas will be in Detroit, Troy, and that will obviously go on to the lion's share of the attention this week. How about the Cowboys as they hit Detroit?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a heck of a game. Last week's game that we had of theirs in Philadelphia certainly didn't go the way that we had anticipated, and I know Nick Foles struggled at quarterback, but I think the Cowboys defensively still did a nice job, even in spite of the quarterback play, in the way that they were able to contain the running game of LaShawn McCoy. So defensively, they've made some improvements from where they were earlier in the year, and this will be a good test for the Cowboys. Certainly, I sense. Even though the record is 4-3, I sense that this is a different Cowboys team from previous years.
So do I, and they could run away and hide if they won this game. They really could. They could run away with this division.
Yeah, of course the division's way down, and we've got the Redskins this week, and they're starting to emerge a little bit. But we'll see. But I think that. The Cowboys, not only the fact that they're in a bad division, but I just sense that they're different. The building feels different. The quarterback has said that this team feels different to him. We visited with him last week, Tony Romo, and he sounds different, Mike, from what I've heard in years past. So, what does that mean? I don't know. He's playing at a high level. He's doing some good things. They're starting to emerge with some other guys. Terrence Williams has certainly helped them. And if the defense can continue to improve, then we'll see. But I think this will be a good game for them on the road to kind of see where they're at. But I also think it's a game that we'll kind of learn a little bit more about Detroit also.
I agree both ways with that game. You mentioned, of course, going to Washington and featuring, of course, the Broncos on Fox. But the thing here is there are weeks where the schedule can be a great positive and a great negative, a big boost or a big obstacle. If the Redskins coming off last week where they had a giant win, a tremendous comeback win against the Bears, if they had an easy team this week, they might get going. The problem is they go now to Denver and they might get knocked back on their heels, and it could cost them maybe any real inertia this whole season. This is the wrong time for them to be catching Denver on the road.
Yeah, and on top of that, the fact that they're catching Denver off a tough loss.
Yes.
So I would agree with that. I think that the Redskins. Have started to do some things better offensively. RG3 is starting to look a little bit better.
Does look better. Yep.
Yeah, and so it's
their
a game.
Specials are so bad, though. And their special teams are terrible, and they're going to get that returner this week. Holloway, that guy's going to kill him. Everybody's been killing him with their return games.
Well. Yeah, you're right, and with Holiday,
Holiday's going to kill him. He's going to kill him.
Well, we'll see. They keep saying that they're doing some things. They're bringing in players to try to shore up their special teams, and like you said, in the return game, they'll get tested again this week, and they've been terrible. And when you're playing Denver, it's like Jimmy used to always say to us, Jimmy Johnson. He'd say, "Hey, you got to win 2 out of the 3 phases of the game if you're going to win." And we were always able to count on special teams. We were very solid, and we played a lot of starters on our special teams. That's how important it was to Jimmy for us to be good in that area. And I think that the Redskins are trying to address that and bring some people in. But if you're playing Denver, it's hard to imagine that your defense is going to win in their phase against that offense. And so, special teams becomes a unit that you've got to be able to swing it in your favor, and Washington has to be better on special teams than they've been.
What do you take from the Denver game last week? It obviously sends a big message. Indianapolis has already beaten the 3 best teams in the league this year. So, they have said, hey, we're going to be a problem for everybody, and we know they are. But that being said, Denver didn't play very well last week in Indianapolis.
No, I think that's the big thing is one, they were playing a real good team, and even if they had played well, who knows what might have happened. I know that you always try to look for positives. They turned the ball over. They didn't complete passes that we're used to them seeing complete, and then because they turned the ball over, and yet they still had a chance, if they don't fumble there, down 9 inside the 5-yard line, and, maybe it's a different game. But I think that Denver will be fine. They'll bounce back. Teams aren't going to play great each and every week, and it's no shame in losing to Indianapolis, but they get a bye after this game, which I think is important, which is why I think that they're going to, absolutely be focused on this game, even after the loss to Indianapolis. they've got a bye. And then you look at Denver's schedule, Mike, coming off of their bye. They're at San home against Kansas City, at New England, and then at Kansas City again.
Yep.
So, that's a tough stretch. And Kansas City, before the season began, you wouldn't think of it being that tough, but now that could very well be for the division.